Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel, and yeah, wow, a video. You don't see many of those on here anymore. It's been a while since I've posted something, and I'm sorry about that. Truth is, I've been busy with school stuff, and also, I was just kind of creatively drained, I guess. And with the Nick Bucks being discontinued, I was trying to figure out what could be like a regular thing on this channel. Then I got an idea. There's a lot of movies coming out this year that I'm looking forward to, so I figured I do videos talking about them the moment I just saw them. If you're familiar with Brad Jones, or otherwise known as the Cinema Snob, he does a show like this called Midnight Screenings, where he sits in a car the moment he got out of the theater. So it's just something easy for me to edit and just talk about pop culture, which is what I'm all about. So from my shirt, you can tell that I'm about to see the Garfield movie. Now, let me just quickly talk about my thoughts on Garfield, because I don't think I've ever said it. I really like Garfield. Him and Peanuts are pretty much my two favorite of the newspaper comic strips. I know he's become this whole internet meme recently, but I've always unironically really liked him. I really like the comics. I tried to collect them, but they're still making them, which is just crazy to think after all these years. And I also really like, I like the art style, and also just the character himself is just this funny, sarcastic guy who just is, or cat, I guess, who's just not afraid to speak his mind. And I really like the original cartoon, Garfield and Friends. Wasn't the biggest fan of the Garfield show, the CGI one that was on Cartoon Network, but yeah, it got the basics of the characters down at least. I never saw the Bill Murray movies, outside of like reviews from people like the Nostalgia Critic. They looked really bad. And this movie, so far, it's not getting the best reviews, but it can't be any worse from the Bill Murray movies. It just can't. But I'll let you know after I see it.
And if you aren't advertising on the largest cinema network in the country...
Okay, I just got back. I don't know if you can tell, but the sun is setting behind me. So my overall thought was, it was good. It's not great, and I'll get to that in a minute, but, so the basic plot, I'm going to try to avoid spoilers as much as I can. The basic plot is that Garfield and Odie are kidnapped by this female cat named Jinx, who has a personal, hatred for, Garfield's father, Vic, who abandoned him as a kitten. And she went, hold on, let me just... And she demands, after Vic abandoned her, or they were trying to do like a heist job for this milk farm, or this dairy farm, I mean. She demands ransom for like a ton of milk to make up for all the time she was left in the pound after Vic abandoned her. So let me just get the positive out of the way. First of all, the animation's really good. It looks a lot like Jim Davis's art style, with like the big eyes and everything. And it's, fun, fast-paced without being too much like that. One thing I liked about the animation is actually this one character. He's a type of dog. I don't know what breed this is, but it's the type of dog where it's just like, it looks like just a bunch of wrinkles, and his animation's really good. He'll put his hand on something, and then you'll see like the layers of like go down. Boop, boop, boop. I thought that was really cool. Most of the jokes were pretty funny as well. Some of my favorites were John is listening to this relaxation podcast that's very specific to him. There's a part where Jinx is calling the company to let them know something. Again, I don't want to get too much into spoilers, but it cuts to them listening, and it's literally just meowing. That was really funny. And there's this running bit with John on hold with, trying to get a hold of somebody to report his missing pets. That really got me as well. And also, if you're a Garfield fan like me, there's a ton of references to the franchise as a whole. If you saw the trailers, you saw that they reference his Macy's Day balloon and those things. I don't know what you call them, but those things that you stick to the back of your car to make it look like Garfield's sticking there. And I thought they were going to do a lot more jokes like that, because back then Garfield was on everything, but it was just those two jokes specifically. Also, if you look at the background, there's a sign that says Lorenzo's Music Shop, which is a reference to Lorenzo Musa, the guy who did the original voice for Garfield. Similarly, there's a sign that says Jim's Comic Shop, which I think is referencing Garfield's creator, Jim Davis. And similarly, one character says Jiminy Davis. It's a nice little nod to that. The actual beginning where it shows Garfield as a kid, I believe that's actually canon. If you're... I forget what special is, but one of the TV specials shows Garfield being left out in an alley across the street from an Italian restaurant, which is how he met John, and of course, slept for lasagna. Binky the Clown, which is a character I think only existed in the TV show Garfield and Friends. I don't think he was in the comics, but you could see him on different things in the background. And one joke I really liked was there's a scene with a dumpster that says 6/1978, which, if you don't know, that's Garfield's birthday. That's the date that the first comic strip was put out, June 19th, 1978, so I thought that was really good. So in terms of negatives, first of all, Chris Pratt's performance. It's not necessarily bad, but it's a little too energetic for Garfield, which is odd because I thought he was going to do better at this than he did at Mario, but it turned out being the opposite. I ended up liking him a lot more as Mario than here. It sounds most like a little more like Garfield. It sounds like Garfield, but at the same time, like, you gotta get like very low energy, and this seems a little too much like that. Also, I really didn't like what they did to Odie. They completely screwed up his character. Every iteration of Garfield, Odie's this kind of idiotic character, because somewhere it's written that most dogs in cartoons have to be stupid. I don't know why. But here, they make him kind of smart. He might even be smarter than Garfield, I'm not sure, but like he can craft things really fast, and there's this bit that I thought was a little funny, where Garfield and Vic are talking, and you see Odie going back and forth, getting stuff to make like a little room for Garfield, and just, I don't know, that's not really Odie's character to me. And speaking of characters, I wish we got to see more of the Garfield characters, because Liz the veterinarian only appears at the very beginning and the very end. Normal only appears for like a second at the very end of the movie, and characters like Arlene and other characters don't even show up at all. I heard that the filmmakers want to do more Garfield movies, so maybe they'll show up then, but I don't know. And probably the biggest thing is, like a lot of movies based on classic properties, they feel the need to reference stuff from modern day. Let's see. Sorry, I had an itch. What was it? Well, there's this running joke where there's a cat-themed version of Netflix that plays actual cat videos from YouTube. This is a Sony movie, so we see John has Sony brand headphones. There's a joke about Walmart and FedEx at the very end of the movie. And probably the most egregious is, so this movie is sponsored by Olive Garden, because take a wild guess why. So not only do we see an Olive Garden bag in John's fridge multiple times, but there's this whole joke where Garfield says that he knows pain because he's been to an Olive Garden that didn't have breadsticks, and they put in a very long pause, like they were proud of that joke, and that was pretty bad. So, unlike something like the Mario movie or the Hotel Transylvania movies, which I don't understand why they have such low Rotten Tomato scores, this one I can understand why to a certain extent. It's not necessarily for everyone, but I personally think that the good outweighs the bad. I don't know if I'm going to give a number rating for every one of these that I do, but I'm going to give this a 7, maybe even a 7.5 out of 10. So, what do you guys think? Do you guys see this movie? Did you like it? Did you hate it? Do you like Garfield in general? Also, let me know, do you like this? I didn't mention it before, but I probably won't be doing it for like every movie I see. Like, if I have family with me, or I just don't have a lot to say, I won't try to force a video out of it. I might just post something on Twitter. Also, if it's a movie that's released exclusively to streaming, I probably won't do it then. I want to do it like in the car, just out of the theater. And if you don't even like this sort of style, and you just like the edited clips of stuff set to music, be sure to look out for my next video, because in a couple of weeks, it's going to be the birthday of a certain duck who you might run into at theme parks around the world. So stay tuned for that, and until then, I will see you in the next video.